Oh, hey there, Gary Wong here with the Midtown Miami podcast, where I'll be featuring business highlights, real estate, and brand new construction just in this area. Follow me and subscribe today.
Hey everyone, my name is Gary Wong, and today we are starting our first podcast here for Midtown Miami. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about my lifestyle here, along with the culture of Midtown, Wynwood, Edgewater, all the way up to the Brickell Key area. Today I'm going to feature two amazing guests. One I have with me today is the developer, Carlos Rosso, with Rosso Development, and our in-house exclusive broker, Carmen Gamarra. So I'd like to bring in today with you our welcome to the Midtown District, right? So
thank you, Gary. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to be in one of the buildings that I developed, while I was at Related Heights Midtown, that it really looks amazing. It has aged tremendously well.
Absolutely. I brought you here today for that reason and that reason alone. Look at Related signs are still posted throughout the whole area.
Yeah.
We have amazing artwork that you and your team have curated for us. And I have my partner with me today, and 7 years ago we started this journey with you. It was a dirt lot. I had no idea when people told us, Hyde, Midtown. Where is Midtown? But we came from San Francisco, so we wanted that grit, that, a little bit of city and urbanism. And you did it. This was the beginning of something that is beyond belief. And today you're going to be finishing the last project that we have, which is, or maybe there's more, I don't know. The one we're doing today is Midtown Park, and that's the last 5-acre parcel of land. And we have you here today and with Carmen, so you could talk to us a little bit about it.
I think it's very important to understand what Midtown is. Remember when buyers come to Miami and they are looking for an apartment, normally what happens, your clients, they say, I really am dreaming of my ideal apartment on the sand, on the beach, and I want to pay less than $1 million, And then that's when you start looking at other destinations, because reality is that Miami has become such an international place, that there is no more inventory in that price point, in that location. And I always say that, yes, the sand and the ocean are great, but, at night it's all dark. And what really people want is to live these units at night, right. So in my opinion, there is a tremendous amount of value of being in a great urban neighborhood that has restaurants, that has sidewalks, that has trees, that has been established for a long time. And in the case particularly of Midtown, Midtown is unique. It's a neighborhood that has been designed, a master plan from day one, as an enclosed neighborhood.
Tell us about what that really means, because we didn't know that it was even master planned until most recently, because of yourself, with Standard and all these new projects coming here.
Yeah, Midtown is around 50 acres. It's a 50-acre site, that is limited by either physical barriers like the Bright Line railroads to the east, and streets that are fast-paced, what I would call it fast-paced, 29th Street, 32nd, 36th, and North Miami Avenue.
Okay.
So Midtown is the area that is left between the railroads and these fast-moving streets. Once you enter into Midtown, you cannot go anywhere. You cannot drive through Midtown to go to the design district, or you need to come out again into these fast streets, which creates an environment where the cars really that go into Midtown are because they're either going to their units or to their homes in Midtown, right, or they're going to a restaurant in Midtown. It slows down traffic tremendously. Together with the idea of not having drive-throughs through the neighborhood, the master plan of Midtown always added a special emphasis on the ground floor of Midtown. Mm-hmm. All the buildings on the ground floor of Midtown, particularly on Midtown Boulevard, need to have glass frontage on the sidewalks. Okay. The sidewalks are a lot wider than the normal sidewalks in Miami.
For sure.
And the density in Midtown, the number of units allowed to be built per acre It's a lot lower than all the surrounding areas. So in Midtown, we can only build 150 units per acre.
Okay.
Brickell is 500 units per acre, and downtown Miami, it's 1,000 units per acre. So with the evolution of Brickell and the evolution of downtown, you're getting a lot of density into these areas, and we are seeing a migration of people that are renting or that bought units in Brickell or in downtown to move to areas like Midtown, which are a lot more family friendly.
It feels a little bit more suburban inside of a bigger city.
Yeah.
No,
and the reality is that we are completing the master plan and the few lots that are left in Midtown. This is my third building in Midtown,
Okay.
Midtown Park. And Midtown Park, is going to be the culmination of a lot of ideas that we have been brewing since we started building this building. The emphasis of ground floor activation, sidewalk cafes, taking advantage of the beautiful canopy that Midtown has, the oaks, the royal palms, and incorporating and multiplying, those qualities in our project. What do I mean by that? The fact that in Midtown we are at a much higher elevation than Edgewater or than Brickell, we don't get flooded.
Correct. I live there.
So all our lobbies can be at the street level.
Right.
And as I told you before, that one of the big characteristics is this fantastic sidewalks and activation that we have. We are doing a fantastic lobby on the ground floor facing Midtown Boulevard that's going to be the signature entrance to the project. And again, those are little details that you really know after living and breathing Midtown for a long time. We are seeing the explosion of retail in the design district. Every weekend, every night, it's a party. People really like to come to the design district. There's fantastic restaurants. They're fantastic. And on the south, we have Wynwood. And what we are really trying to do is to finally connect the two neighborhoods.
Yes.
Miami, for a long time, had the beach and the sand, and nobody knew anything else about Miami. Then, started creating Brickell, Coconut Grove as residential destinations, Aventura maybe on the north.
Sure.
And now we are completing all the different neighborhoods that are in between these big magnets of development.
It's very true. I usually use the gourmet hamburger as an analysis of what it is, right? Design being the pretty bun on the top, and then the meat is the center, which is Midtown, and then the base of the burger is Wynwood because it collects all the good stuff.
All the good stuff.
So we're in the middle of it all, and because of you, we have this to thank you for. And I appreciate you and the master plan that this has become. And today I also have Carmen with me.
Yes.
Carmen's going to talk a little bit more about the project itself in detail, interiors, and what's available. So
Absolutely. Well, this is a marvelous building.
Yes.
The architecture is magnificent. It's done by Arquitectonica, and Mayor Davis is our interior designer. The tower is, I've seen many in the years I've done this work, and this is the most beautiful one.
It's gorgeous.
The design is absolutely exquisite.
Yes.
And we have from studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3. And we have amazing penthouses. These penthouses are so unique that they are 2 stories. We can consider them the duplex penthouses. And then we have the amazing 3-story with a swimming pool on the rooftop, which is absolutely spectacular. Our prices are wonderful. I think, Carlos, that we have a magnificent price range. The location is exquisite. And we have, if you notice, in the lower level, something that we can announce perhaps today
Yes.
to the public for first time.
Yes, I hear
And
we
this
have
is good
some-
news for
some
you,
good news.
Gary.
All right.
We're announcing that from the 6th floor down, 3rd to 6th floor, we have amazing suites, Midtown suites we call them for now. And they are amazing studios, 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms, by low floor.
Right.
And they are actually facing the beautiful landscaping of our parks, of our center court, of all our paseos, which are our 2 streets, pedestrian streets, where people can walk and enjoy. Those streets have cafes and boutiques and restaurants and shops.
So very similar to like a design district.
It's a
flow.
mini design district actually, but more beautiful, I would say,
Yeah.
because very modern
Right.
and very wide roads, a lot of artwork
Sure.
all
That's
over the
what you're known
place
for. Lots of art.
because of Wynwood, because Carlos loves art.
Yes.
And so it's a beautiful urban community that has the space and the air for people to enjoy life.
Correct.
And that is something that doesn't exist in Miami.
No.
Because normally we have gorgeous towers, but once that we are down on the lobby and we walk out, we are right on the street.
Right.
Here you walk out and you're a magnificent cul-de-sac, you enter the parks, you enjoy part of everything, and not to mention, we're having Ultra coming with a magnificent courts.
Right.
We're
Ultra
going to
paddle.
have
Yeah.
paddle for all of us that love paddle, and we also have pickleball courts.
Okay.
And
Both are very popular.
second floor are huge. Perhaps you want to explain a little bit
Yeah,
better.
the concept here was to try to create a real mixed-use project. So, we start thinking like users, what would we like to have on this project, And this is the largest mixed-use project being developed in South Florida right now. It's over 2 million square feet, 5 acres, 4 towers, 4 residential towers, 2 office towers, 120,000 square feet of ground floor, restaurants, retail, shops, a 35,000 square foot gym on the second floor, an 8-court paddle club signed with Ultra. And we're trying to bring the tenants that everybody really loves, We're looking at Coconut Grove, we are looking at the Brickell City Center, we're looking at the Design District, we're looking at Lincoln Road, and thinking, if I had to pick, who do we bring and who do we choose? Can we bring another Mandolin? Can we bring an Arbona from Coconut Grove? Can we bring All Saints from Lincoln Road? Which are the brands that resonate with buyers? We are talking with locals. What are the brands that people really love? We're talking with Books and Books,
Right.
to bring them here.
Yeah, they're a staple.
So again, we are looking at what are the components that we think we need. And on top of that, we are talking with, for example, some boutique pre-K schools.
I was going to mention that's one
That's
thing
very
that we
important.
don't have here.
Yeah.
Right?
For our
So
children.
the idea is, again, that you can do everything walking within the community. We are trying to add to what already exists in Midtown. And we've incorporated 25% of our project is public space. So we have parks, we have the 2 paseos that Carmen just mentioned that are designed with the same scale, the same size, 25-foot wide paseos that resemble the design district. So we're trying to bring a little bit of the design district here.
Sure.
We are looking at what has worked in other mixed-use jobs, or what has worked in Bal Harbor in terms of shade, trees, size of walkways, and the scale, which is something that is very important for us. And what we really want is to have an activated center at the south portion of Midtown.
I think we heard somebody say something. I think you might have mentioned it, Carmen. It's like a Midtown within the Midtown. So
Correct.
you have this community that's already here, but that because of that empty land for the last 5 years, it's become just kind of raw, natural, open. And now you're building to fill it in. So we need to bring that whole thing together from the Wynwood side over to the design side to make it cohesive.
Yeah, and the components are there, and people tell us, what they want, and we really try to apply to them. We've done a lot of brainstorming, a lot of focus groups on Midtown. Midtown is considered a very safe environment because of the activation of all these public spaces.
I agree.
Because when we actually did this building, for example, I remember very well, we had focus groups and we found out that a lot of single women live in Midtown because they feel very safe.
Correct.
They can come down in their Lululemons in the morning, go to the gym, and then come back, dress up, and go out at night, and walk around Midtown, and it feels extremely, extremely safe. I always tell my teams, to sell a project, what you really have to do is go and walk the project at 11 o'clock at night.
At night.
Dress like you are dressed, you know, for a party, and see if you feel safe.
Yeah, it's
you know?
true.
So,
Midtown is
go to
fantastic.
downtown Miami, go to Brickell, go to Coconut Grove, go to a lot of all these other projects and go to Edgewater and try to walk at night in a 6-inch high heels and see what feeling you have, you know? The fact that Midtown has that coziness. Midtown is one of the few neighborhoods in Miami that has a kids playground.
Yes.
You know, that's why we said, okay, we analyzed the demographics of all the buildings, and a lot of the buyers were telling us, you know, we are buying here in Midtown Park because we want to start a family.
Right.
You know, we want to have babies or stuff like that. So we said, okay, what about a nursery or a pre-K? Oh, we would love that.
No,
so
it is fantastic.
you know, so those are all the components that I think are missing that we are trying to bring to make sure that this project is an asset for the whole of the Midtown community.
Well, I think you already score 100 on your walkability at this point, but we can always make better and improve on things that we are missing. With Trader Joe's, which is the newest addition to our community, and just around the corner they opened up Whole Foods. I mean, who would ever thought that Whole Foods would even consider this area? But now we know.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Design District here for a reason, and these people are coming to invest in Wynwood for a reason. So Midtown is that core, right?
Yeah.
And so
That residential core.
That residential core, and that's what we need now. We need schools, and we need medical. We need other small things that people, you know, need as a service on a day-to-day basis. Although we're very close to.
That's the whole idea. You know, we have 2 office buildings of 30,000 square feet each. You know, we're thinking of medical offices, medical tenants, you know, healthcare in general. You know, what are the things that you need to be able to live in Midtown and feel 100% comfortable? You know, so we imagine the day in the life of, you know, if I lived here, you know, with my wife, what would I like to go? I would like to come down in the morning, exercise in a 35,000 square foot gym, then drop the kids into a pre-K, then go to the office, then come back and maybe stop for a coffee at Books and Books, and maybe then go and play with some friends, you know, at Ultra Paddle, and have all that within my neighborhood.
Right.
And then come down with my dog and go to one of the parks, because we know that in Midtown there are more dogs than human
almost
beings.
humans. Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
So we are part of that urban space and open space is thought also for the pets, you know?
Fantastic. Well,
Very important to us.
right? We're all, I think we're all pet lovers and pet parents. So Carmen, tell us a little bit more about some of the units, maybe what's available and how do we...
Well, right now the amazing thing is that we are under reservations. That means that our clients can select a unit and freeze the price. The price is the first line to the public, which is the best price they will ever find.
Friends and family, right?
Friends and family, we call it. And they can definitely separate their units with a certain amount. For 1 bedroom, 50,000, for a 2-bedroom, 75,000, and for a 3-bedroom, 100,000. So what we do is we reserve the units until we go to contract. And then when we go to contract, we begin the process of the contract, which is 20% down. And then during a period of about 2.5 years, we will put down about 50% down, 20, 10, 10, and 10. And then when we deliver the unit, then we can go to a bank, or we can pay the other half cash, whatever the client
They
wants.
can either finance it.
They can definitely finance the other 50%, because think about it, we have a magnificent tower where everybody has already put on escrow 50% down.
No, it's amazing. And since we have a developer here, maybe you can focus in on a little bit about how that actually starts. The person puts down their reservation, the ground breaks, and then what happens then?
Then we start construction, you know, and then, you know, the idea is to try to space the payments as much as possible for the buyer, so the buyer basically forgets, you know, how much they owe. You know, we are now closing. We are closing at the standard, and a lot of people call us and say, so how much did I owe you guys? You know, how much did I put? You know, the idea is to make sure that it's a very comfortable payment plan for the buyers. And in this particular project, you know, I think one of the most interesting things, I think the project will also qualify for the EB-5 program, you know, which will allow buyers, you know, with an investment of $800,000 to apply for a green card and permanent residency in the U.S.
That's fantastic.
So that's, you know, that's a very, very interesting proposition.
Very lucrative.
And that
To
we
all of
can
you,
do-
listen to that.
Very lucrative.
To all of you, listen to that.
Yeah, I know.
And that we can
Just
do
been
it
announced
because
here.
we have a lot of retail and we generate a lot of jobs.
Right.
You know,
Right.
our retail component and our office component allow us to qualify for this fantastic program. So
That's amazing news.
I think that's going to be a big driver, and it's going to accelerate sales. You know, to add to what Carmen just said, you know, we are in friends and family pricing, so we just started, and the sales I think are going to start picking up. We haven't even opened our sales center.
No, that's what I noticed.
So very soon, with the sales center open and the model kitchen and the model bathroom and the scale model and all the artwork that we are going to put into the sales center, I think the project will accelerate drastically, you know, its velocity. So I hope everybody takes advantage and contacts Carmen and Mr. Wong,
Yeah, please.
and we sell as we normally sell, you know, very, very fast, and we continue producing great real estate.
What is our projection date for the completion?
Well, it will depend obviously on sales, but you know, we intend to start construction next year, probably third quarter of next year, and the construction is 2 years. So
2 years. The
people,
size of this building.
yeah, people have time, you know, to pay and to make sure that they pick the right units.
Correct.
But you know, things are going to start speeding up as soon as we open the sales center.
Right, and this is Tower 1,
Tower 1.
correct? And then behind this tower will eventually be the
Tower 2,
commercial-
you know, smaller towers, and you know, and then commercial units and all the components that we just mentioned.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
One thing that Carlos mentioned once stuck to my mind, and you said it's like a public country club.
Yes.
Or a public country in
The
another
idea
country.
is to bring
and
that
that is
country
exactly
club
what it
living.
is.
Yeah, I like that image.
You know?
And to reinforce
It's
that,
very
you
rare.
know, as the project is going to be built in 2 phases, the north phase is phase 1, and the south phase is phase 2. We are going to start building a paddle club soon with 12 courts.
Oh, pre the building.
Before we start building phase 2, we're
Ultra.
going to do that like a club
Yeah.
for Midtown. The
That's
idea
great.
is that this is going to be a country club, you know, where you have everything in close proximity. You know, you have the restaurants, you have the nightlife, you have the supermarkets, you're going to have the gyms, you know, you have all the components that people really want to be close to.
That's amazing.
To call a neighborhood, to call it
Right.
home.
Yeah.
That's
I
what it
mean,
is.
That's how you start the project.
Yeah.
You know, especially being that paddle and pickle are going to be such a big part of the community.
Yeah.
It's great that you're able to use the land for that purpose
Yeah.
to begin with. That's great.
Something important,
Yeah.
Gary, perhaps, we are able also to rent the units if they're needed, because I know that our clients that listen all the time
Correct.
inquire about the restrictions, if any.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about
Okay?
that. Because
I think that is
people
important for
invest
our,
that
Sure,
Yeah.
sure,
our
sure.
purpose.
listeners.
Midtown also has restrictions for this. And
Yeah. We really want to be very cautious and very careful to maintain the quality of the people that live in the building, you know. So, but we also recognize that there are people that are not here all the time and they want to rent their units on short-term basis. So we will allow, I think it's 4 times a year.
4 times for 30 days.
30-day minimum.
Okay.
So it's great for somebody that comes from New York and wants to rent their unit. They want to stay 30 days in Midtown, and that's great. And with that also, we filter the type of tenant that's going to come into
Absolutely.
the building. You know, we don't want people that come here 3 nights.
No.
So
Right.
we are really very particular about that, and I think it has been a big driver at the standard. You
With,
know,
with
where-
that being said, can you talk about Proper, right? Proper is a
Yeah.
management company that you guys have decided on, and they're a large hotel management company.
Yeah, we picked Proper for the first tower because we thought they had the perfect proposition for Midtown. You know, it's really a hotel chain that is driven by the ground floors of their hotels. If you go to the Proper in Austin or the Proper in LA, you know, you see that there's a lot of activations. The bar, the reception, the restaurants all get sort of like confused, if you want, on the ground floor, and they have a fantastic energy. Why we picked them also is because they just opened in Miami Beach, the Shelbourne
Oh, right.
by Proper,
Sure.
which is 5 minutes away from Midtown,
Yeah.
and where the buyers of Midtown are going to have beach club access privileges.
That's
so
amazing.
That
I
is
think
the-
it's amazing,
That's a
you
nice
know, to
bonus.
be able to have, the beach, the sand that we were talking before, that is the most desirable place, to have in Miami, and at the same time have a unit here
Right.
in Midtown. And we picked Meyer Davis Studio also to do the interior design for this first tower. They're a super upscale brand from New York. They've done here the best projects in
Mr.
Miami.
C, Baccarat.
Park Grove,
Yeah.
Baccarat, the Mr. C. They've done the One Hotel in South Beach.
Correct.
So they're known for their impeccable taste and impeccable finishes, and that's what we're going to bring to Midtown Park by Proper.
But Proper doesn't do property management for the
No.
individual. They're just going to be
There's a
running
branding,
the whole
and they're making sure that the project stays within the brand.
Right. So they do the pool service. And
They do the pool service,
yeah.
the whole 9 yards of the project itself, and it's the best way also to keep the expenses and the HOA expenses low for the
Can we
buyers.
talk a little bit about what those are? Most people always ask, what are your HOAs?
I think it's
what's-
$1.50 right now. That's what we're thinking about, because of the scale of the project and the fact that there is other components that are going to absorb part of the HOA. It's great for the unit buyers.
That's not a bad price because it's been 7 years since we've been here, and this started off at 99 cents. So
Yeah.
only 50 cents more.
I think because
7
of the
years later.
scale of the project,
Okay.
this is a big project, and we are able to offset different costs between different uses in the project.
That's great.
Which is fantastic.
No,
It's good for the buyer.
Talk a little bit about the services inside. Is there restaurants inside the main area,
Again,
or is that just all retail?
No. The beauty of this project is that you will have all those fantastic restaurants at your footsteps.
Right.
And you don't want to have a restaurant operating and being paid by the HOA
No,
owners.
exactly.
So all this will be on the ground floor. They will all be fantastic F&B outlets, and you will have them at your doorstep. So you come down of your
Exactly.
unit and you go to a restaurant, then you come into your own sanctuary, your own building.
That's great.
You don't share it with anybody else, and it's yours.
We've learned
The
that.
amenities on the 7th floor
Yeah.
are going to be incredible. You will have,
Like 45,000.
the 45,000 square feet of
A whole full floor.
Full floor,
Yeah.
a complete full floor, 2 pools, 2 pickleball courts, edible gardens to go and pick, your rosemary, your parsley. Then we'll have 3 party rooms of different scales and different functions, virtual golf, a spa,
Amazing.
a gym.
Another gym. Another gym.
Kids room. So if you don't want to go to the gym downstairs, you have your own gym in the
Private
tower.
gym.
So
Right.
I think Meyer Davis has done a fantastic job designing and planning the amenities and the lobby.
Yes.
The lobby, imagine windows of 18 feet of clear glass that you will look into and say, wow, I wish I could live in that building, because you're going to be really facing Midtown Boulevard, which is the most important
I think the
pedestrian street.
difference between here and Wynwood, or Edgewater even, is when we live here in Midtown, we actually do use our lobbies. Most people
course.
go into their buildings,
Yeah.
they park their cars, and they go up the elevator.
Yeah.
Right.
But here, we actually come up and down our elevators, and we go out the front door.
Your amenity, your biggest
Yeah.
amenity is
It's
the
the lobby.
public space and
Yeah.
the sidewalks of
Yeah.
Midtown.
It's
You know,
true.
if you are in one of these isolated towers in Edgewater,
At
there's
night,
really
what do you
nothing
do?
else to.
There's nothing to go up.
You have to jump on your car
Yes.
and go somewhere.
That's
Here you
right.
can, you can walk in Midtown, you can
right
walk in the design district, you can go to Louis Vuitton, you can go to Hermes, you can go to Michael Schwartz, and come
My
back
favorite.
walking to your house.
Yes, exactly. And
You know?
I mean, it's
And that is
just
very
across the street.
unique. That doesn't exist, Carlos, everywhere.
No, it doesn't
even in New
exist.
York.
In Miami, it's very difficult, and,
Yeah.
and just look at the prices that things are starting to command in the design district. The building where Michael Schwartz is just traded and was sold to the owner of Zara, Amancio Ortega, for $110 million
It's
for
unbelievable.
20,000 square feet
Yeah.
of retail. We have 120,000 square feet.
Exactly.
Of retail.
120,000.
Yeah, so it's like,
Compared
it's
to
a,
that small.
so what I'm saying is that, if you get the right mix and if you get the right tenants and you combine that with open space, with beautiful trees, with shade, with outdoor cafes, with the paddle, with the gym, with the pickleball courts. We are giving you a lot more
It's a full
than
lifestyle.
than a traditional tower.
Yes,
So I always tell buyers, hey, what are you buying?
Right.
What are you buying? Are you buying a kitchen, a bathroom, a brand of a car, or a brand of a fashion that, who knows what it's going to turn out to? Or you're really buying something that is solid in the sense that it has all the components. And I tell you, Midtown Park offers to a buyer 50% more value than any traditional project.
Absolutely.
At this point now, with this pricing that we have started, what is that price per square foot compared to others?
I think it's
Where are we
$1,100. We are starting with $1,100 a square foot, the lowest units. That is by far the most attractive pricing for this type of product with all the components that I just mentioned.
Exactly, what's included.
And it's difficult to find, projects like this that are catered towards, I don't want to call it normal people, but the reality is it's for families.
Every
We
day.
just had, the other day, we had a couple from Spain that came and they bought a unit, a 3-bedroom unit, because they were living in Brickell. They are living in Brickell, but they say, hey, we want to start a family and we really want to have like a normal place with sidewalks, with cafes, with restaurants.
Right.
And
More
not
suburban.
A different lifestyle.
Yeah,
and not having to jump on our car to go
everywhere.
everywhere. So I think
very true.
this has been this is my third project in Midtown. We did Hyde here, then the Standard, and now we are starting with Midtown Park. So we know the area very, very well,
Yes.
and we are evolving in each one of these projects. We are doing better design, better finishes, better kitchens, better bathrooms, and I think it's going to be a very successful project.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this all come together. I mean, living here for the past 7 years, you've done amazing with Standard coming now, and then the final project here with Midtown Park. But Carmen, what are your thoughts for our sales team? What for the brokers and agents that are out there? I know that you and I wanted to also do this podcast to educate our teams out there that sell real estate.
Absolutely.
What do we want to bring to them from this?
I think that we need to make them understand precisely what we discussed today, the difference between any project with our community end project, to teach them about the area, to teach them about the advantage of living in a pedestrian neighborhood, a safe neighborhood, a neighborhood where I noticed that everybody that lives here is happy.
Mm-hmm.
Almost everybody knows each other,
It's true.
because everybody happens to meet at this restaurant, at this cafe, to
On the
have a
street,
drink,
yeah.
on the street to go shopping,
Correct.
and everybody's comfortable and everybody is at ease.
Correct.
So this is something unique from Midtown. I have not experienced this in any other places in Miami.
It's true.
So I think that we need to teach our colleagues and friends that this is a very special project and that they need to understand the quality that makes him different. And this is basically what Carlos, you and I are trying to bring to the public, to make them be aware of the different things that makes us apart.
And we are, just to add, we are seeing a trend. People are following what we're doing in Midtown. If you see suddenly David Martin is doing John George,
Yes.
bringing a restaurant of, 5-star restaurant, Michelin star chef, to anchor a project here in Midtown 1, which is the first site in Midtown.
Right.
And there are more names and more brands that are coming to Midtown every day on the retail side.
Right.
There are going to be some big announcements very soon, of some amazing restaurant operators coming to Midtown.
Restaurants, particularly.
So Motec is coming also to
Right.
Midtown. There are some great brands coming. I think it's going to be a fantastic destination, for everybody to come and enjoy.
What a change it's been over
Yeah.
7 years. I mean, it really has.
Only 7 years.
I mean, just
Yeah.
a short period of time, and so much has happened.
Yep.
It's amazing. It's
That's
amazing. Well, I'm looking forward to bringing in some more of our colleagues and hopefully educating all of our teams out there about this project. And, come look for us. Our showroom will be opening here very shortly. It's going to be across the street from the brand new Standard that you're just finishing up. And yes, I think that if there's anything closing that you want to mention, and we can.
We are looking forward to meeting you,
Yeah.
seeing you very soon.
Yeah, and Carlos?
Thank you very much
Thank you. I
for the
appreciate you
invitation,
being here
Gary.
today. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
All right.
Gary.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time today.